Republican lawmakers in both chambers of Congress have basically introduced a resolution that they're referring to as the Women's Bill of Rights. And it doesn't really include any rights, and plural is not something that you could really include in a description of what they're offering here, because it's just one right, and all it does is discriminate against transgender people. Because in a Republican lawmaker's world, offering rights to women just amounts to denying rights to the powerless in the country. And this, of course, is on the heels of women learning that their reproductive rights and their autonomy over their own bodies will be ripped away from them. Now, the resolution introduced by Republicans in both chambers of Congress would define words like woman, man, mother, and father on the basis of biological sex, a rebuke to transgender and inclusive measures. Now, Republicans call the measure a Women's Bill of Rights, strong language that doesn't really apply to what they're offering up, arguing that defining women on the basis of biological sex is necessary to protect women's rights in spaces like domestic violence centers, sports, locker rooms, and bathrooms. I didn't know that domestic violence was exclusive to biological women, but according to the ignorant lawmakers on the right, I guess that's what they believe. But Cenk, fact of the matter is, it's not what they believe. This is a manufactured culture war that is having a negative impact on transgender people in the country. But what they're doing here, this is their strategy, is to distract away from the fact that they succeeded in stripping reproductive rights away from women. They don't want to talk about that. That is not a popular thing to discuss. 70% of the country wanted to maintain reproductive rights in this country. So what have they been doing? During the hearing last week on abortion access, this was a hearing in the House Judiciary Committee, every Republican lawmaker decided to ask questions about gender. That's it. Because they don't want to talk about abortion access, not a popular thing that they've been pushing for, not a popular thing that they've accomplished. So instead, let's just focus on transgender stuff because it's red meat for our voters.
Yeah, so this bill's a joke. It shows you how little Republicans care about women. But I'm gonna come back to that first, because of course the correct name for this bill should have been the right to hate trans people. The entire bill is just about trans people. It has nothing to do with women, right? And they say, it's because we're trying to protect women. Let's break that down for a second. They say, well, in the current system, there could be violence, and we're trying to prevent that. Is that right? Wait, hold on, let's think this through. So let's say it's a trans woman who was born biologically male, right? So I haven't lost any Republicans so far, you guys agree with that, right? And so, but she presents as a woman because she's trans. So she walks into, in your fantasies, she walks into a female bathroom and attacks women. Why would she do that? Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. She's a woman, why would she attack other women, right? But now let's think about if she walks into a male bathroom in a secluded area. What do you think might happen?
They don't care.
Do you think there might be violence against her as opposed to her committing the violence? In fact, the idea that trans people commit more violence rather than having violence committed upon them is an absurdity. Statistically, it's not even close. The trans community suffers from more violence than almost any other community.
They know, they don't care.
And of course, Anna, it's always worse when it comes to Republicans.
Yes.
They encourage that violence. That's what they're like, trans people, they're different. Remember, everybody, be scared of how different they are. And then this is a hate bill. They try to pass this hate bill so that there'll be more violence against trans people because the Republicans are monsters. And don't tell me it's not all of them. The whole party's behind this. Now let's turn to women. It's got nothing about women. It's called the Bill's right, the right of women. It has no rights for women except to be safe from those dangerous trans people.
It's a perfect crime for the Republicans, right? Because what they're actively doing is stripping women of their rights. So they do this PR stunt where they purport to be in favor of women's rights. They drafted the Women's Bill of Rights, everyone. And in reality, I mean, you don't even have to scratch the surface. It includes one real thing in there, and that one real thing is just hatred toward transgender people.
And I just wanted to be clear what we mean by real and not real. The first three rights are not rights, they're just definitions. And the last two are not rights either. They're just comments. The only so-called right is for women to be safe from those dangerous trans people in their bathrooms and locker rooms. That's it. That's women. Congratulations, Republicans have just given you all of those rights?
These are people who want to force women to carry a rapist baby for 9 months and then give birth to that rapist baby. That's who these people are. They don't care about your rights. They care about their political power, and they care about, feeding red meat to their evangelical voters so they can maintain the power that they have or to stay in power. But fact of the matter is, they don't care about rights for anyone, really, right?
And why do they even do this? Because their base is evangelical, right-wing Christians who are evil. And so they want to punish people that don't look like them, that don't act like them, that they view to be outsiders. So the Republicans are an evil party that have to feed their evil base. And so that's why they don't care about women's rights. They say, I want to use your body as this property of the government. We're for small government. No, you're not. You're all a bunch of liars. And isn't it weird that there aren't any elected Democrats that speak halfway as forcefully as we do about their so-called opponents? Like, of course, the media is never going to tell you that the Republicans are monsters. Oh my God, I don't want to be accused of bias to tell you that they actually are in favor of zero rights for women. Their bill for rights for women includes zero rights. That is a fact. But oh my God, we would be biased if we told you that. So we'll call it even, right? And Democratic Party, but we have the same donors as the evil monsters, so shush. So now you got to come here for us to actually defend women and American citizens.
Now, one of the sponsors of this resolution is Representative Debbie Lesko of Arizona, a Republican. She says the Democrats are erasing women and the spaces that are uniquely ours. Wait, hold on. No, if I'm not mistaken, Cenk, the people who make me feel like a second-class citizen in this country are not, Democrats, I can't stand them. They're incredibly weak, and I have my criticisms toward them for sure. But it's not trans people, it's not Democrats, it's the GOP. It's the right-wing, religious, theocratic zealots who somehow get to have more say over my body than I do. They're the ones who make me feel like a second-class citizen. So for them to put that on Democrats or transgender people is ridiculous. But she's leading the House version of the bill. She said this at a press conference announcing the bill on Thursday with the Republican Study Committee, the largest conservative caucus in the House. She also says it's pretty simple. It acknowledges the biological differences in men and women, highlights the importance of differentiating between men and women involved for the purposes of protecting sex-segregated activities and organizations, and affirms the importance of using mother and father in written law to protect families. Do you guys understand how much of a non-issue this is? That's the other thing. Look, not to minimize the pain and suffering that the small population of transgender people are dealing with right now in this terrible authoritarian country. But in terms of the impact the transgender community has on everyone else, it's non-existent. They just want to be treated with dignity. Them being treated with dignity doesn't make me feel like I'm being erased. And the Republicans know that, they know that. But like with every other culture war issue, they gotta find the boogeymen. And in this case, it's transgender people. They need something to campaign on. What else would they campaign on? The fact that they keep cutting corporate tax rates? The fact that they keep giving goodies to their elite buddies? The fact that they're engaging in enriching themselves through their position of power, the fact that they're very likely trading individual stocks with insider information, which is, by the way, illegal for everyone else, supposed to be illegal for them as well. Yeah. No, this is all they have. This is their bread and butter. Hate. That's all they've got to sell to their base. And I just wish their base was smart enough to realize this is not an issue that negatively impacts you at all, at all. But everything else that these Republicans are doing, and with the help of some Democrats to be sure, is having an impact because they're robbing you blind. Wake up.
So let's get this right, by the way. Even if you think you're an evil evangelical right-winger and you think, oh my God, trans people are so dangerous. So if you're a woman in that category, you're saying, I'm willing to give up my body for 9 months and let the government run my body and tell me what I can and can't do with it. And by the way, and then I have to take care of a person for the rest of my life, no matter whose baby it is, okay? And that's okay, because I'm going to be protected from the evil trans people, which is a problem in what, how many cases? Even if you believe that, 0.00000000001% of the case, right? You think that's the major issue? I mean, come on, man. I don't know what's worse. Anyway, I'm so tired of insulting them. If you're a woman and you're voting for the Republican Party, you should have your head examined, go get mental health counseling. You're voluntarily giving up your rights so that monstrous men on that side can control your bodies and control your fate, your very life. And you're giving that away because you've been brainwashed by the cult of an evil right wing and think, oh, I must obey the males. The males are so important. Here, take my body, do whatever you want with it. You should have your head examined. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.